Hey there, I'm Lance, and this is Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers. And in this video, I'm going to show you Forge from Fundamental Games. Forge is a game about medieval blacksmithing, and it is coming to crowdfunding, so make sure to check out the link down below in the description of this video after you watch it. This is from designer Wesley Woodbury, and in this game you are going to be placing your assistants and your blacksmith, gathering resources and trying to complete contracts, while also trying to be the first player to get different achievements before a player gets their 5th achievement and ends the game. Let me show you how it works down below, and then I'll come back and share my thoughts on it. All right, here's Forge on the table. Let me show you guys how this worker placement game about being a blacksmith in the medieval times era is going to work. Now, everything you see in this video is prototype, so the final artwork, components, and maybe even some of the rules may change once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, let's get into this. So you can see here we have a main game board, lots of cards. There is a player board that's down below here. I'm going to show that to you in a minute. And there's also this board, which is separate from the main board, but I wanted to get this on frame to show you because this is the achievement board, but it is also the turn sequence board as indicated over here. And this is going to be very important because this is a race game to try and get 5 achievements, as you can see listed out here, out of the 7 that are possible. And if you are the first person to achieve one of these, you're going to get 5 points. Second will get third will get 2, and last will get 1 point. So you want to try to get 5 achievements as quickly as possible in this game. Now, I'm going to keep this out here to tell you how a turn is going to work because it starts with the turn sequence over here. The first player at the beginning of the game, they will decide what order they want to go for that round. And if you pick first, you're going to receive a wood. If you pick second, you'll receive metal. If you pick third, you'll receive brick. And if you pick fourth, you'll receive a gem. And how you do this, you just simply take one of your wooden hammers in your player color and slot it on whatever slot you are picking, and then all the other players will pick what they want, and that it will determine the turn order for this particular round. Now I'm going to set this off to the side, having explained that, and show you what the player boards look like in this game, panning the camera down here. And as you can see, you have lots of things going on your board down here. Now, let me explain a little bit about this. You are going to have 2 assistant workers here and a blacksmith, and that's going to be your workers, your set of workers. You'll receive a 3rd worker and a 4th worker in rounds 2 and 3 respectively, and you're going to keep track of your skill throughout the course of the game, and these are different things that you can try to unlock, different skills. You can also train up your assistants and get development cards, and the contracts that you fulfill and that you forge are going to go right here. Now, let's pan back up and explain how the rest of a turn works. So, what are you doing in this game? Well, you are going to be moving about the board, getting different resources so that you can fulfill contracts in this game. And you will use your assistants and your blacksmith as your workers to be able to do this. As I mentioned, this is a worker placement game. And anything that has this icon right here is a spot where you can place an assistant. Anything that has this icon is a spot where you can place your blacksmith. Now, what you will mostly be doing throughout the game are getting resources, and that's up there on the very top row. You've got the forest, the mountain, and the mine. And if you place your worker here, you're going to gain a number of those resources wherever you place. So for instance, if I place on the far left here in the forest, I'm going to receive 4 wood. And these are the resources here. And again, this is just prototype. You've got your wood, your metal, your brick, your gems. You do also have money in this game. And so I will collect my resources. What I'm going to be using those resources, though, are to complete these contracts. And you have 3 different types of contracts, and there are 3 locations where you get more contracts. The city commons will give you the common contracts. The barracks will give you the military contract, excuse me, and the castle will give you the royal contracts. Let's take a look at an example here of what a contract might look like. So this is royal plate mail here, and it requires you to be skill level 5. So this is one of the harder contracts to complete. You won't be able to complete this until way later in the game. These are the things you'll need. You'll need 3 metal, 2 gems, and an assistant to be able to complete this. You'll also need to have unlocked those 2 things on your player board. Let's pan back down for just a second to show you that again. You can see here you've got 5 different things that you can unlock, and I'll show you how to unlock them here in just a minute. But for this particular contract, let's take a look again. I needed to have that scalpel looking thing, and it looks like a table saw, but I'm sure they didn't have table saws back in the day. But anyhow, you would need to pay these resources and the gold listed here to be able to unlock these 2 things. And you would get the bonuses for when you do that. This one in particular raises your skill. So that is how you can get your skill higher so that you can be able to be skill 5 and be able to do this type of contract. And so you need those 2 things as in addition to the resources, and you could forge your contract for that. And one of the ways you can forge is by placing your blacksmith here on the center of your player board, and that will allow you to complete one of your contracts, paying the resources to be able to do so. Now, what you're going to get on these, in addition to victory points at the end of the game, you are also going to get gold, and that gold is going to allow you to be able to do things such as unlock the things that are on your board, as I've shown you, but also to be able to take additional other actions, such as the trading post over here. That's going to allow you to buy and sell resources for gold. The plaza action here is going to allow you to pay 2 gold to be able to move your blacksmith to another location throughout the board and reuse them in the same round. And there are other options for you on your turn. So you can go to the development, equipment, and training locations. Now, these are the spots that are going to allow you to unlock the things on your board, such as these little tokens right here if you go to the equipment. But the development is going to allow you to take a look at these development cards, which are going to give you bonuses, such as equipment and tools requiring wood cost 1 less gold to build. The development has no in-game effect other than the victory points it provides, which is 3 victory points right here. You can see that a lot of these are going to give you bonuses, but not only are they going to give you bonuses, they're going to give you, a lot of them anyhow, are going to give you these guild seals, which are going to be victory points at the end of the game as a set collection. For every different colored guild seal that you have at the end of the game, that is going to increase the number of points you get. And there are guild seals on a lot of the cards. There are guild seals on these development cards. There are guild seals on the contracts that you are completing. But there are also guild seals on the guild cards, and you get that by sending your blacksmith to the guilds, and they are going to get an immediate resource, so 3 gold and a wood, for instance, but it also gives you this guild sealed at the end of the game. And so you want to try and complete as many different sets of the different colors. I believe there's 7 in the game, 7 different colors. I could be wrong on that, but that's the ballpark number. And so you want to try to complete those sets for big points at the end of the game. The training section over here is really interesting because your assistants can be asymmetrical. You can attach different training cards to each assistant, and that particular assistant will have some special abilities, such as this one here. You can exhaust this particular assistant to place a contract card from your hand under this training card, and each card placed under here is worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. So it's like completing a contract without having to complete the contract. And there are tons of different abilities in these cards, and they're all very interesting things, some better than others, but you get to attach one to each different assistant when you take the training action. And so that's the things you're going to be doing in this game. Now, ultimately, it is important to complete contracts for gold and victory points, but also you are really needing to focus on these different objectives, because the whole game is the person who completes 5 objectives will immediately end the game and you will go to end game scoring. So let's talk about these different objectives. If you can get 4 different guild types, you get to put a hammer down. If you can upgrade your top row of upgrades here, you'll get a hammer. If you can upgrade the bottom row, you will get a hammer. If you can put a training card on all 4 of your assistants, you'll get a hammer. And if you can get 4 development cards, which is the maximum number of development cards you can get, you'll get a hammer. If you can get all the way to skill level 5, you get a hammer. And then lastly, if you complete 3 contracts, you get a hammer. And the reason why this one is in blue is because you need to be able to do this one in order to lay your 5th hammer. You cannot do this one if you or you can't lay your 5th hammer if you haven't done this one. And so that is the gist of the game. What you'll get points for in this game are your completed contracts, your cards that give you points on, such as your assistant and development cards, the points that are on your player board for the spaces that you have unlocked through your equipment, and your guilds. Your different sets of guild cards will give you points, but also the points that you get from your different achievements. So you're getting points in a lot of different ways in this game, and you can have a really high scoring game. This is an example of a score chart here. You can have lots of points in lots of different ways. So it's a bit of a point salad, but it's very strategic. That is how you play Forge. Let's go back up top and share my thoughts on this game. All right, so there you have it. That's Forge. Now I'm going to share my thoughts on this game. I'll be clear with you guys, upfront and honest with you. I've only had this for about a week prior to making this video, so I was only able to bring it to the table just a handful of times. But in those times that I have gotten it to the table, I've walked away every single time with this game stuck in my head, which is usually a pretty good sign that I like this game, because I'm thinking about it even when it's not on the table. I'm trying to explore ways to develop other strategies and deploy different techniques in this game. And with it, you can do different things. And so this has got replayability. It's got the energy for me to want to get it off the shelf and bring it to the table and set it up and explain it and teach it. This game is it's got something about it. For me, what really stands out about this game, because it's a worker placement, and worker placements are a dime a dozen. And so you got to really have something that makes it stand out, makes it set itself apart from all the others. And what this game has for me is that achievement board. Trying to be the person who completes 5 objectives before everyone else, and really you want to complete your accomplishments quicker than everybody for maximum points. That's what really makes this game so special, because I'm completing those contracts, and that's important because I want to get the points for those contracts, but I'm also wanting to make sure that I get the guilds on it, but kind of to the side of that, and it's just as important, if not maybe even more important, I'm watching that achievement board and I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping up with people on that, or I'm staying ahead of them on different achievements, and I'm trying to make sure I'm getting the maximum value of points before the 5th achievement occurs in the game. It really gives me Scythe vibes. You know, Scythe is a game that has forever been in my top 3 games of all time. I really love Scythe. And what makes it a game that I just absolutely love, because I really don't like area control games. They're not my type of game. And that's what Scythe is. But what makes me love it so much is trying to race and get those stars, battling other people, getting up to the top of the tracks. This has similar vibes, and because I'm really watching and I'm observing how many contracts has this person completed, how many guilds do they have, how many things have they unlocked on their board. I'm really paying attention to that, and that's what you did in Scythe, and you have that same sort of vibe in this game. Now, this is obviously a worker placement game. You're not going to be doing area control with this particular game, so it's a completely different kind of game. But if you like Scythe, I have a feeling you'll probably like this game because it has that with it. Now, one thing that it has that Scythe doesn't have, it's got a lower entry point as far as complexity goes. You can definitely play this with casual gamers. I played this with Sam, my wife here on Love to Hate, who is a non-gamer. And in fact, she beat me in this game. So that goes to show you how A casual gamer, a non-gamer can get to the table with this game. Now, I will say, it probably is a little more complex than what most casual or non-gamers are used to playing, because you really do have to be observant and see how everybody's doing. And that's just not something that a whole lot of casual or non-gamers are apt to doing very well. This is a game you do want to pay attention to what's happening, all the players, what they're doing, how they're advancing, where along in the point of the game are we at? You know, can this game end on the very next turn, or do I think I have maybe 2 or 3 more turns to go in this game? You really want to be aware of that concept with this. And if you like games that are like that, I have a feeling that you'll probably really enjoy this game. I know I did. Even in the short time that I've gotten to play this game, I've been really blown away by it. And it's been one, like I said at the top of the video, that makes me want to bring this back to the table. It gives me enough energy to want to do that. So I'm really excited that I've gotten to play this. It is Forge. It is from Fundamental Games, and it is on crowdfunding. So make sure to check out that link down below in the description of this video now that you've watched it. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of all of our new videos. We really do appreciate that, because we put a ton of work in these videos, and it really makes our day to know that someone out there has benefited from watching our videos. So please consider doing that. I'm Lance, and this is Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.